So if you think you can memorize everything in respiratory therapy school, I'm here to tell you you can't. I didn't even do it. Nobody can remember everything in every single school or every single program. You see all these for nursing, med school, PA school, all that stuff. Nobody ever memorizes everything. However, there are definitely techniques that people can put in place to memorize everything. So I'm going to share some of those techniques that really helped me out, how they still help me out to this day, and I don't even use them for school, but I use them for real life stuff and how I still remember things for like long-term use rather than remembering it for a week or so. So the one thing that I want you to do is basically talk everything over. So this may sound really dumb, but you learn something, teach somebody else, talk it over with somebody else. You have classmates, talk about mechanical ventilation. Okay, so this is what's going on with this patient. Talk about what's going on with the patient. Talk about what mechanical ventilation settings would be best. Talk about different things that you would do for the settings if certain things would happen. So let's say, oh, well, we got this ABG here. Okay, so this is our ABG. What do we want to do? So that's number one, is talk it over. Teach somebody else. If you don't have anybody else to teach your cat, teach your dog, talk to the wall. It doesn't matter. Just talk it out, because that's going to help you memorize it so much more than just going through it in your head. And number two is I want you to download the app Anki. So this app here uses virtual note cards. So in my past videos, I talk a lot about passive learning versus active learning. So passive learning, you're just kind of reading your notes, you're going over everything. You're going to forget all the information in 2 weeks and never remember any of it. However, if you're actively learning it, you're going to be using this information. You're going to be talking about this information as I just talked about. So with this app Anki, what you're going to do is you're going to be making virtual note cards. And then what this app is going to do is also include spaced repetition. So right as you're about to forget this thing on the note card, it's going to remind you again. So I'm going through it, and let's say that I say, oh, I know this one, show it to me again in 3 days. 3 days pass by, it's going to come up and show you that same note card. And you're going to say, oh, I know that. I just remembered it from 3 days ago. Show me it again in 7 days. You only have 3 options. It's literally show me again in less than a minute, show me again in less than 10 minutes, and then show me again within so many days. So therefore, all this stuff for you to memorize it for active learning and like the long term is all put into place for you. All you have to do is create the note cards. You can even find decks that are already made. So I'm sure somebody already has some kind of respiratory therapy deck on there that's public, and you can just use that. Or you can create your own. So typing it is much faster than writing it. Or what I even do is I use talk to text. So this is so much quicker, and you can easily knock out 500 note cards in the time that somebody can do 50 note cards. So you're 10xing your speed there. So the two things I talked about so far is talk it out. Teach somebody what you just learned, because that's how you're going to remember it. And secondly is use active learning. That goes along with talking about it. Note cards, you're going to see it over and over again. You're going to make sure that you actually use your brain to remember this stuff. You're not going to be there listening to lecture over again and thinking, oh, the same thing, blah, blah, blah. Rather than reading the same thing over again, you're going to just be reading it, and it's going to go in one side of your head and right out the other, because that's all boring stuff. You're not going to be using your brain to remember this. So those are 2 techniques that I used in respiratory school. So, like I said, active learning. That's how you're going to memorize everything in respiratory therapy school, nursing school, med school, PA school, whatever you're in, just to make sure that you're actually using your brain to study, because that's how you're going to remember it for the long term. If you have any questions at all, you have any recommendations that you use for studying that you can use for other students, make sure you use that in the comments below. Well, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.